What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Rundown, a show where we deep dive into film and TV. And today, with my host, my fantastic host, Anthony,
Ghost
we're
host.
going to go into Ghost Host. God, it's too early for this shit. We're going to go through The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, and The Return of Andor, where we will go into episodes 1, 2, and 3, all within the space of an hour. So strap in because we're going hard and we're going fast. Anthony, how are you?
I'm fine, but I'm kind of wondering how we're going to manage this, doing Last of Us episode 2 and Andor 1, 2, 3. Also, I'm kind of regretting that it's so late as it is for me, because one, I'm on call, so I could be called away. Let's hope not. But if shit goes south, I
Fingers crossed.
need to go away. Second of all, Andor 1, 2, 3 is such a masterpiece. So I wish we could have had like a 3 to 4 hour stream like often once to do Andor, but let's try to do it in an hour.
We'll just try and do it what we can. We'll just do what we can. And look, Last of Us had to go and drop an epic episode just to throw a spanner in the works, because I really want to talk about that too. I really want to talk about that. But then as I'm sitting there watching Andor, I'm like, you have that, I had that urge of like, I need to let people know I love this.
There's so much more to talk about with Andor and with The Last of Us, but let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, we're going to start with Last of Us Season 2 because that was also what an episode of TV, what a game changer. When you think about it, it really is. We'll kick it off with the start. So, having played the game, you obviously know what's going on here, because they're sticking pretty faithful to the storyline. Now, this was pretty cool, dream sequence, giving us her point of view, because the show's all about perspective. So I like how they did that. Is this pretty in line with what they did with the game?
Well, in the game, you see this like a gazillion times instead of one. And it's pretty much spot on. Yeah.
Very cool. Love the whole message about, you don't recognize yourself anymore. She's so fueled by revenge. And you forget that's 5 years later. So, like, she's had 5 years of working towards this.
Yeah.
Pretty epic. Then she wakes up, obviously, and they're in what will become a sad place. This broke my heart.
Yeah, it's a golf tournament.
And now I know what you meant by golf tournament.
So I thought the golf tournament would have been like the end of season 2, and then they would start from there. But as soon as you see Abby over here, you see the golf clubs ready for action, and I thought, damn, they're at least going to hint at it or have a go at it. I didn't think they would rush it the way they did.
Oh, see, interesting that you say rush, because there's a lot. I think there's a lot to be said about how and why they did it. It just as much as there is what actually happens in the episode. I was watching. I think it was John Campion, I think, said, and actually I really agree with this. He said he was really upset. Well, not upset, but he thought that the same thing, that they would do him at the end of the first season and be like a cliffhanger type thing, and then have the last half, which makes sense. But then he was like, his point of view of it was that in the game, the story doesn't really start until he gets killed. That's when the real story of the second game starts. So
yeah, that's not true, though.
You don't think so?
No, that's not true. So before this, you've been playing Abby a bit, and you're just playing Abby, and you don't know what she's going to do, and you don't know why she's going to do it. So the whole reveal of you killed my dad just comes way later. So the game doesn't just start after you kill Joel, but it seems like season 2 of the series starts after they kill Joel.
I mean, the story, though. You don't think the story did in the game, like the theme of that game?
No.
Interesting.
But it changed a couple of things. So in episode 1, for people that played the game, we didn't see the rocking chair porch scene. in the last episode. I thought they were going to skip it because they weren't going to kill off Joel, which would make sense that way.
Hmm.
Um, but seeing as they probably did kill off Joel, unless Scotty saved him in the HBO Max ICU.
Hashtag spoilers.
Yeah. Um, so um, I guess we'll see the rocking chair scene at the end of season two. I think they would have transferred it to the end of the series now. Um,
Mm.
of the series will be a lot of flashbacks for both Abby and Ellie and Joel.
See, okay, so I took this picture here of the guitar in the room, right?
Mm, yeah.
And that tells me that he was sitting on the porch playing it. That would tell me that he's given it to her and it's in the room. So they've had some type of conversation.
Yeah.
Um, boom, Hawkeye. Let me just say, hang on.
Well, it's
Is
not
it too
about.
late?
It's not just the thing that she has the guitar and that they have seen each other. It's about the conversation that they had, but you don't
Of
know it yet.
course, of course,
So,
of course, and that's going to be
so
they're,
no.
they're going to give that to us in flashbacks. You
Yeah.
reckon? Yeah, because they didn't explain in this episode why the guitar was in the room, but they made sure to make a scene of like you seeing it in there. So you put two and two together. It's like, oh, how did the guitar get in there? Obviously, they have had a conversation,
Oh yeah, but it's
or
deeper
or
than
he's like,
them just
yeah,
having a
obviously,
conversation. So the guitar stands for the relationship, and the
yes,
guitar being mended means that after the conversation, the relationship has mended. But you
hmm
haven't seen what mended their relationship again, or at least
yeah,
what started the mend. But you did see Ellie just say, "I want to go on the patrol with Joel."
mm,
Um, uh,
yes.
Me and Joel are complicated, but nothing will change that we are this thing.
Yes. I love how they've been able to, like, with the knowledge that they've given us, and for people who've played the game to know that, and then to show the scene of the guitar sitting and like how they've pre-planned all this because it will be rewarding at the end. I'm assuming at the end, right? We're going to get that scene or whenever it is of that flashback and that conversation. And that's a way of bringing him back for us, the audience, and giving closure to the story. Very smart storytelling.
Yeah, I
If
don't think
that's,
it'll
if
give
that's how they're
closure
doing
though. Look, the in the game, the decision to kill off Joel was pretty divisive.
it. Mm,
I just immediately stopped playing after that.
mm.
I picked up the
Broke your
game
heart.
afterwards, but it took me a really long time to get back into the game. And I'm not the only one. Um,
Mm,
After I played the game, I talked to my brother, and he just quit the game. Wasn't interested in the series season two just because of it. Um,
yeah.
so maybe them shoving this golf tournament to the beginning, and uh, just getting it over with, makes sense in people trying to get back into watching the series again, seeing what it's
Mm.
about, because they will dive a bit deeper into other things.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And look, that's the impression I get from the creators when they do that podcast and the behind the scenes stuff that
Yeah,
Max. I love how Max gives you this extra content along with it. Very smart move by them, especially for people who haven't played the game.
yeah,
And just giving us all this information of the story to help put things into context. I think that's the whole theme. Like Neil Druckmann, his whole thing is to shock you and give you a story, like so he talks about knowing that people will be, it's like a divisive thing to kill off the main character of a freaking franchise or a game or whatever. But I think he, from the impression I get from him and the things I've heard him say, is that's his whole intention, is to with his art, with his storytelling, he's giving you really hard choices to deal with. And I think it's cool that they're doing that. And the whole, like, they've done it so early. It's so interesting to me now to see what the show's going to be like without Pedro Pascal eating up a lot of the screen time, like how they're going to make it engaging for people still. So look, I believe him from what I've seen so far from season one. And
yeah. I don't
this,
think it's a good decision to keep that the same, to be honest, because first of all, it's Pedro Pascal, so we miss Pedrogasm. Second of all,
this Pedro Gasm now.
unlike
So,
like a Ned Stark in Game of Thrones, there aren't a lot of main characters in the series. Like in Game of Thrones, you had a gazillion main characters, so it made
mm,
sense to shock the audience with killing off Ned Stark. And I get that you want to be kind of interesting and artistic, but don't kill off Pedro Pascal. I mean, first he gets killed in Game of Thrones, then he gets killed over here, and the Mandalorian
You
has to
can't
wear the
hold a
helmet.
grudge of you can't you can't hold a grudge from what's happened to him in other TV shows.
No,
That's not
they've done
fair,
Pedro
Anthony.
Pascal dirty, dude. Because in the Mandalorian he has to wear the mask, and he's been played by other people as well.
He's doing fine. Look, he's about to be Mr. Fantastic. I think he's
Yeah,
set.
true, true.
He's
I
set.
think he's set. I think he's set.
Shit. I
But
just
yeah,
love.
I don't think it's a good choice to do this because I
see.
think Joel is a
I actually
far more interesting character than Ali.
yes. Yes, I agree on all of that. Okay, look. Yes, 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 I agree. I love Pedro. Would rather see his character more. I thought Joel was an interesting character. Would have liked to see their relationship build. But I think I've just got to understand that this guy who made this story, he wants that to be the shock and awe, and he wants to see how. Because look, in real life, the main character dies or someone, like life goes on and things have to like. I think this is a look at that as well. Like what happens when the unexpected happens or the main character goes, like what happens to the people around them and how do they move on. I think I like that he's having the balls to go for that type of story because it is so shocking and divisive. um I think when he did that in the game, it's just such an interesting take. I think it's just that it's just someone doing something completely different to the norm. Like the norm would be to keep Pedro in because he's the interesting character, but now what's the show going to do? It's almost like the show's fighting for survival to keep us to
Yeah,
keep us
you're
entertained.
kind of saying like it's the norm to keep the interesting character, and now what's the show going to do without the interesting
Yeah, yeah,
character?
yeah. But yeah, what are you going to do now? Like, who's going to step up? Who's going to carry the load?
So
Like,
like I said, I get that as an artist, it's cool to do something that's not the norm. I don't think
yeah.
it's a good choice over here.
Mm. Interesting. If we had anybody watching the show live, they'd be able to chime in and let us know. Let us know what they think. But I think it's very interesting that they're doing it, and that this is someone that's how I look at it is this is someone who's trying to do that with their storytelling. Let's just see where it goes.
Look, and
Uh,
I am interested in if being a player makes you more invested in a character than being a viewer, because
mm,
I think the whole idea of any content, including series, is that you kind of identify with the main character and you recognize some of the things in yourself in the character or some of the difficulties they have to go through.
mhm.
And when they triumph, you triumph, and when they're sad, you're sad. That's kind of the idea, right? And I think
Yeah.
it's multiplied by some factor when you play the game because you have even more agency than just watching. So I think
Mhm.
when playing a game, you're way more invested in a character, and when the character gets killed off, it's why am I even playing?
It's shocking.
I think
Yeah, I get
that's
it.
like the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking. Like I look at akin to like when I was managing a gym, our best employee, like my best working employee left, and that changed everything with how like the within the team dynamic there for a bit. But I think back at that and I go like when someone leaves, you've just got to pull together and make do and see what happens, like build again or do something different. I think it's what these guys are going to have to do with the show. So it is going to be interesting because Pedro was my favorite character.
Yeah, and I think his
Even though I
arc.
love the storytelling of it, but fuck, like what's going to
Yeah,
happen
and
now?
I
Really?
think his arc and his struggles, or potential struggles in the future, and the things that he had to confront and consolidate with, I think they're just more interesting story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it kind
it's
of
like
robbed us
Optimus
of that
Prime.
to show that anything can happen. It's like really like any. It's it's so brutal how life is. Like what they're trying to do to us here by making you follow this character, and then just
Mm,
like that, just seems so easily after. It's just such an interesting decision. Like I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it, even
cool.
though it was like really shocking to me. Um, I really enjoyed just this whole episode. I was just freaking on the edge of my seat. Honestly, that as a show, as an episode of a show,
Yeah.
freaking just the topic of doing that to the main character. Like if there wasn't a game before this and this was just a show, how would we be like thinking?
Yeah, I don't
Think about
know.
that.
I'm really curious about that.
you know, like how are those people taking
Yeah.
like like what the hell's going on? So it's a very clever way of telling a story that's just completely different and having the balls to do it. I commend them for having the balls to do this type of story. And hearing that their theme is about perspective and all that type of stuff and what they want to get across. Very cool. And I have to say, these guys in the town, what an epic episode for them too.
Don't be
Um,
Earl.
don't be Earl. But he was fantastic in it. I thought I was really impressed with his acting in this episode.
Yes, I like that Tommy has more of a story than he has in the game.
Yeah. Like I feel like he could be someone that gets a little bit more screen time.
Yeah.
And maybe probably training her up, and from what it looked like, helping a deal. Then we move along. So this basically pre-framing the horde attack, one of the best I've seen as well. Amazing, which is set off by like my artistic shot here, focused on the hand instead. Just saying, because I don't want to look at her face. How dare she? But the set off, I'd rather look at the hand. This whole sequence was insane. It was actually insane.
This is like a 1-1 port from the game as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
And that's how she bumps into him. Like when she bumped into him, I'm thinking they're gonna infiltrate and get to know them and then try to do something.
Yeah, because
later
you were so glad that you called that one last week.
Yeah.
It was like your proudest moment of last week.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
They're gonna infiltrate. But again, it subvented my expectations and did something completely different. And I love that choice. Like that's how you create moments. Like this is a moment in TV history now, I think, to it. I don't know how much of a degree, but to me, it's a moment because not only was it just so well done, just so shocking in the direction they took their show. Freaking epic. And then he saves her because there's absolute boss. Then she snitches his name so they know, so she knows he's Joel. But I guess that's inevitable when you're walking around with people and you talk to each other.
No, it's not inevitable because we've seen Joel in season 1 being very, very, very careful. I don't know if it was like Detroit or where it was, but it was this guy just standing on the highway or the road, saying, "Please help me," and he just floored
That's right.
running through him. So he's just on guard because he's had like a history with the Raiders and everything, and so he wouldn't have told his name if it was him and Tommy. They wouldn't have told his name. So that was one of the bigger grievances when the game came out, because in the game it was Tommy and him, and then she knew, which was weird. But having her Dina say it makes a lot more sense. So that's like a good adjustment.
Okay. Yeah, that's rather than be Tommy. So they've taken that section and put the horde part, I'm assuming, is like added for the story of the show.
No, the horde part. It yeah. So the gazillion the gazillion were added, but there was like a horde in the game, and they were chasing Abby, and then Joel saves her. What's new is like the two hordes meeting each other, and the cordyceps in the pipeline, alerting the other group about the town, and then they diverting that direction to the town. That's new.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool, though. I just took this picture just because I loved the scene. This is them running to join the other group running down there.
It was a lot of drinks.
Just terrifying. Like such an epic standoff. Honestly, like where the direction this goes, that was exciting enough for an episode to have this attack and just have them survive it, let alone what they do right at the end. Like they went all in. And I love this strategy too. The strategy
so even before, so what I really liked about this is they also like, yo, Mr. Bob, where is everyone? I'll still be watching the wedding scene. Yeah, the wedding scene was epic.
Yeah, I tried to check. I'm like, are we live?
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I like the speed that we're going through this episode though, because that means we'll have more time for Andor. But
Yeah, we're moving
having
quick.
said
We're
that,
moving quick. Thanks
um,
for being here, Bob. Appreciate it.
yeah, thanks, man. Having said that, I really like to see not only because it was like an enormous horde going for the town, but it's also like they character built the cordyceps. They
Mm,
give you kind of some more information and characteristics about the cordyceps, which makes you understand how like the hive mind works, with like the
mm,
cordyceps in the pipes first, and the hordes notifying each other, the hordes lying dormant under the snow, but
mhm,
even them just operating like an organism. So the front lines of the zombies, not the zombies,
mm.
the infested, they just act like tools. They just act like fists of the horde. They're just slamming them right into the wall of the city, which is insane. Just sacrificing anything just to get inside.
Bro, yeah, it's so true. And also, just sorry to
Dude,
cut you off. Bob, what are you
Bob,
doing, bro?
thanks.
Bob,
Okay,
bro,
so
thank you.
Bob Dylan,
Bloody hell.
most generous man once it's collecting. My personal fairy godmother. So thanks, Bob.
Bro, thank you so much, mate. You didn't have to, so we really appreciate that, brother. Bloody too kind. Yeah, he's a G. Actually, Bob, while you're watching, I'm nearly finished my inner and my Dune video, essentially. Can I give you a shout out about the idea of the neck adapter? Um,
That's a
because I
good
might
idea.
film a little bit on that. But rather than show it, I was thinking I'll just give people a shout out, give you a shout out, and tell people to, if they want to do it with their figure, to look at your page or whatever. So just let me know if you're cool with that, because
Yes.
I haven't done that yet. Yeah, legend. But thank you, brother. Appreciate it. And we hope you enjoy our conversation of the two shows. This was epic.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Cool. I'll just give you a shout out and say thanks for giving me the idea, because I didn't take any pictures or anything as I did the mod, because I'm a gazelle like that.
Cool
So I'm just going to talk
indeed.
about it. Yeah, and then when they switch directions, when they switch directions, like after they've been taking a beating on that wall to
Yeah.
go to the other side of the wall, like how Tommy recognizes that. Oh my god, that was it was intense. I thought I took a picture of that, but I loved their idea of defense. It's just they haven't realized that these guys have evolved and they're much smarter now, and now they're in trouble. Because I'm
So
assuming they didn't cover the other walls because they don't expect them to be smart, right?
yeah, I don't think they expect them to be smart, but also I really like the defenses. You could actually see them working out the defenses
Mm,
and thinking about this Helm's Deep kind of situation beforehand,
mm.
which is pretty cool to see because that's new.
That's very new. Okay, that's cool. It's good to see that. And then this, oh my god! I see. I'm still not knowing what's going on here. So I'm like,
Oh wait, how? Because you knew because in the series they tell you in advance that she's going to kill Joel, right?
mm-hmm.
So in the game you don't know. You just walk around. But here you know she wants to kill Joel. What did you think at this moment? Did you think she was going to change her mind?
I no, I thought that they were going to get to know each other for longer, and it would be more difficult choice
Yeah,
for her,
yeah,
but she would still do it.
yeah,
But that she would still go for it.
yeah.
She didn't give herself any time to get a connection to him, which is actually pretty smart.
Yeah, it is.
She just got it done. Nothing to cloud her judgment. But here, yeah, like I just felt bad for him. I feel bad for him here, knowing what's going to happen to him.
Yeah, but it makes
Um,
sense, right? Because she doesn't know that he killed everyone because they were going to kill Ellie. She just knows he killed my dad and 17 other fireflies,
yeah,
which is like not a lot in Last of Us terms. Because I think
yeah.
when you played the game, I think I was at 93 or something when
God
you
damn.
charged the hospital, and Joel only did 18 in the series, so
Yeah.
it's relatively okay.
Yeah, that's not like, but still, 18's a lot of human lives. Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus.
It's a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Oh, bro. The bloater was epic. He was actually like imposing.
Yeah,
Look, as we get to it. I just loved him in this scene, and his wife. She was great
Yeah,
in True Blood too. I can't
yeah.
remember her name. They
Tara.
were both great in this, but Tara, that's it. This whole I loved just this whole sequence. Like I thought this was epic. We thought, me and Lenny thought he was gonna die, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god, this is it. He's trapped in the like. Oh, they got me. Like they got. I don't know. Did you get like? Were you feeling the tension in this whole
Yeah,
sequence?
so
Like
this
it
is
was
yeah,
insane.
so this is new. So it felt like either one of two things was going to happen. One, Tara was going to save him by shooting the guy, by shooting the bloater in the head, or with a nail bomb or something else. Or two, he was going to die, and that both didn't happen. So I
I
was
know.
really glad that the bloater just fell after just
Yeah.
being burned to a crisp.
Oh, just this whole sequence, mate. Like when he ran down onto the street, I'm yelling at the TV. I'm like, "Don't go on the street, bro! Like you're down on there, like, you're gonna get killed." And the fact that he like draws it away from Tara,
Yeah, he got to
oh
be a
my
hero,
god,
Uncle Tom.
he was freaking, and he's got a baller jacket on too. I love that jacket. Um,
You're
but
going to get that jacket, right?
I'm gonna get that jacket with my cowboy hat from
Probably.
Yellowstone, and I'm gonna be a cowboy. Um, But honestly, mate, this whole sequence of him running and then cutting to the fuel gauge and it's going down, the tension of that,
Yeah,
realizing he's trapped, like his
yeah,
reaction
that
and
was
how,
done well. That was done
bro,
well.
he was. This whole sequence was just so good.
Yeah.
This is all I needed from the episode. God damn it!
And so,
Um,
and in the game, the flamethrower was really powerful. So when he got the flamethrower, I thought, yeah, he's going to burn to a crisp, but he just walked through it.
just took a beating. Yeah, it took a
Yeah,
beating. But even that was just so epic. Oh. And then we cut to here. So anyway, I think that's the last picture I had of the horde like attack. But honestly, that whole action sequence was epic. The dogs coming out and taking out. The fact that Tara let the dogs out.
yeah,
Um, just that whole just attack and action sequence, just massive. That's like finale type action sequence
true,
in the
true.
second episode. You got to give them that. Like that was
Yeah,
epic.
yeah,
And then we cut to freaking Falcon, bro.
freaking Falcon.
The betrayal. The betrayal.
The betrayal, indeed.
Oh. When this started happening, I'm like, oh, like, what's she gonna
Yeah,
do? This
yeah.
Pedro's holding the controller. He just got called in by Marvel. It's time to leave. It's time to
It's
go.
time to leave.
Shit. Oh Jesus. Then they put her out. So this would be new, right? Because this is
Yeah, yeah,
he's with Tommy, right? And is he with Tommy in the game, right? When it happens.
yeah.
Yeah. Does Tommy live in the game?
Dude, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Um,
I think he does. I think they only killed Joel, but
yeah. Now this whole thing that like I get it that they're showing they don't kill her because they're trying to show that they're not horrible people. They just want revenge on this one guy. So it was interesting to see that they took this much care of not killing the other person. You'd think if they're just going to kill someone, they just kill the other person that's with them.
yeah, it's not only that. They actually say that they have rules instated. And one of the rules is not killing an unarmed person.
Yeah.
Which gives you like the sense that there's like a whole civilization with rules and laws that we didn't know about in season one. Season one was just post-apocalyptic. Everyone fends for themselves, just kill or be killed. And now you get to learn that there's like a civilization slash society with rules,
Mm.
which is new.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. When she says that to him, I thought, oh, I'm sorry. Pedro. when when she says that to him, I thought, oh, is she going to give him a weapon so he can try to defend himself, so then she can keep to her rules? But no,
Boom.
I like boom. Right, I did actually capture a clip of him flipping in the air, but I thought it was too disrespectful to Joel.
It was. It was.
So I didn't put it in. But yes, the golf clubs are there.
Yeah.
She was on a rampage. Like she's such a good actress. If you haven't seen Justified, you got to watch that because she's in that and she's an absolute legend.
Yeah, she's good. She's good.
She's so great.
Yeah.
Sorry, you go.
No. I'm just saying that she's a very good choice for Abby. She's not as because Abby was like uh, twice as big as she was,
Mhm,
and it makes sense that she's f- more frail than Abby in the game was, because eventually she's probably going to have like a showdown with Bella Ramsey. It wouldn't make sense
mhm,
if she was as buff as in the game.
mm.
And acting wise, she's very cool.
Yeah, I feel like they've made good choices of going with people that can do the acting that they want to portray.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's smart. I think she's it's good for me because I don't have anything to compare it to. So I'm just
true.
like, yeah, she's great as this character. Like, if just looking at it as a show, great pick for your character.
Yeah, she would have
Also,
been
I think,
wasted as an Ellie. She would have made a great Ellie, but I think
yeah,
Abby's more interesting to play.
mm, yeah, that's interesting that I could definitely see her as the other character for
Yeah,
sure. I can definitely see her. Um, this whole conversation, this whole sequence, how they did it, it was just really well done. When they cut back to this scene when she mentions her dad, and
yeah,
like as she's talking about him not even having a care, that's the shit you would say. Like, I just feel like they just really did a good job on the writing and the silence, no music when she's telling that story, and it's like kind of silence as it flashes back to him remembering that. Freaking so epic. Such an insignificant thing in a way to us watching the show at the end of the first season. It's just someone else he kills on his rampage to go save her.
yeah,
um, but I love how it had as in real life, every one of those deaths would have had an impact on someone else, and we're getting to see the side of the someone else from
yeah.
someone insignificant to Joel in the first story, how that can come back and interact and cross between with your life and fucking end your life, bro. Come on, it's just whoo. Hang on. Just great TV. It's just great TV.
And then you need to play. No, no.
Yes. Come on. Jesus Christ. I put this picture here because this is where he tells her just to shut the F up and do it
Yeah,
already. I love
do it.
that. I love that.
But she doesn't want to. She wants to kill him slow.
Yeah. Yeah. And she does. She does. Like,
Yeah.
spoilers, but she does. Um, what did you think of this? How they played it out? Like, were you satisfied with the whole sequence? Do
No,
you
I'm not
think it?
satisfied because I think it's the wrong choice.
You got to get past that and look at it just as in this is an experiment. I feel like in storytelling, just completely switching it up, as in life,
Yeah,
things have to
we've
move
had
on.
the
How's it going
experiment
to
with
move
Game
on?
of Thrones already. It was fine.
Yeah, and it was
Um,
epic.
but so the weird thing is Bella just sees both the horses, immediately draws her gun, which is weird because
Mhm.
it's just two horses at a golf club, at a
Mm,
golf course. But then she walks in and she sees Joel. This is like the same from the game.
yeah, okay. It's such, as a viewer, it's so sad to see him go out like that. Like, someone so formidable, um, to just go out so easily. Just heartbreaking. But yeah, that shit can happen, I guess. Like, he just wasn't ready. Actually, back to here, right? Here.
Yeah,
Do you think that he chose not to fight back because they said that she would live, and he's so like having know how much
yeah,
he
that's what he said. Yeah, of course, because you see him
wants to
looking at
protect.
her, and just he's already accepted his fate.
Um, right?
Yeah,
Okay, good question, Bob. So we hate Abby right now. Uh,
well, that's the
I
thing.
think this is the juicy thing. Yes, about the story. No, I don't. I don't, because I'm looking at it perspective wise. If I was her, I'd probably want to do the same thing.
Yeah, so in the game, they wanted you to identify with Abby by having you play her before you even know that she wants to kill Joel and
Mm,
having the golf course. So you already identify with Abby a bit, as to not totally hate her. Over here, that's why they switched up the part with her motive, and they gave you the scene with the funeral, her
hmm.
telling about her dad, her telling about Joel killing everyone. They
Yeah.
put that in the series to the front to have you empathize with her now as
Mm,
well. So no, we don't. 100% hate Abby, um, because that's what the series is trying to do, to
Yeah.
have to have us see both perspectives of Ellie, Joel, and Abby. And I
Yeah.
think she's very um, charming, I guess, as a person or as an actress. So that also
Mm.
helps.
I'm biased to her, I think, because of Justified.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah, she's a
think
very
I as a
likable person. The actress is.
mm, yeah, yeah. For some reason, okay. So once I heard Neil Druckmann and that talk about their whole model for telling a story.
Hmm.
They're telling the story is they want to tell a story about perspective and the consequences of your actions.
Hmm.
So this is just that story playing out to me. So I didn't get as attached to Joel, maybe as I would have in other shows, once I realized that the whole idea of them telling the story is that this is the story they want to tell. So it's only going to be 2 seasons, right? So it's just telling that story, or 3 seasons, sorry.
Yeah,
It's just
3.
telling that story. So I'm cool with that. And now, as a viewer, looking at that aspect of the storytelling, now what's the consequences of Abby's actions, and how's that going to? Now she's just basically created herself in Bella, by doing what she's done to Joel. I
Mm.
just think that's really interesting. And how's that going to play out and come back to bite her now? So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Um, yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing how that plays out. So,
So, Bob, what
and
about you?
perspective.
Did
Yeah,
do
what
you
about
hate
you,
Abby
bro?
now? I'm really
Yeah,
curious to hear you.
yeah. Let us know, because now I'm looking at it as, okay, what's going to happen? What's the consequences of that? Rather than getting too tied up on missing Joel. I just
Yeah,
feel
I
bad that
just like the
I feel
showrunners
bad
now.
for yeah, I just feel bad for his story. So I'm hoping they give us a bit of closure with the flashbacks to them talking on the porch,
Yeah, so
and
that's the idea of the flashback,
yeah,
but I
that'll
don't think they'll give us complete closure with that. Well, not me.
be interesting
But
to see. It'd be interesting to see. I'm really interested to see where they go with that. Because they're off to now where we don't know, right? Are they just done? Are they just going to do a Thanos and go to the
yeah,
garden? Like, what's the deal?
yeah. They're
What's the deal?
done. They're done.
What's Bob saying? I think it's everything I liked about The Walking Dead, but done more effectively. You
Hmm,
don't have to wait 4 seasons to see karma come around. Everything they do has a consequence. Yeah,
true.
yeah. And look at it. Me and Lani had this talk because we talked about like the meaning of it, I guess. And Joel, really, if you're looking at it objectively, stopped the good guys potentially from getting a cure to stop this and maybe restore order in the world, and
Yeah,
and he killed people there to stop that from happening because of his selfish love of not wanting to lose another daughter. um, it's a very complex moral, I think, conundrum, right? Like, and it depends on your perspective of where you are. If I'm Joel, yeah, maybe, and you're in that predicament, maybe your fear of losing someone would push you to do that and not lose them. But he also stopped the world from being saved. And then from her perspective, if some crazy thing to me is that she doesn't know about Ellie,
yeah,
right? Because I'm like,
yeah.
oh, they don't know that she's the cure.
No.
Because she would be even more pissed off then, I would imagine. You killed my dad and you stopped the cure from coming out. Like, you're a bad guy.
Well, or she empathized with Joel more because of it.
Spare someone today that might kill you tomorrow and vice versa.
Yeah, best
Yes.
best be safe. Better be safe than sorry.
Yeah. It highlights that they are rarely pure good or evil. It's relative.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know what other show does that we're watching for the third time because
Dude.
Neil is into it? Cobra Kai. Cobra
Oh.
Kai, everybody can be good, everybody can be bad. One of the best shows on TV.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Andor. When he says
And we're
Cobra
about to get to
Kai.
Andor. Cobra Kai for life. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy, sir. Uh, Mila loves it too, so we're just all in as a family,
Oh,
just
dude.
loving it. But it has such good lessons. People can be good and people can be bad, and everybody's good and bad at one point. It's
And
just
don't
perspective.
throw people off the stairs.
Yeah, don't do that. Glad to see these guys made it. What an
Yeah,
epic moment for them
yeah.
too. Like, yeah, them getting back together, because at one point I thought both of them, or one of them at least, was
I
going to
thought
die.
Thanos was going to die. I'm so glad he didn't.
Yeah. And then the sad ending where they're taking him home to the original Ellie singing the end credits, I've been told.
Yeah, Ashley.
Pretty
So
cool.
this is like the HBO Max ICU. So I think Joel's still in the ICU.
I think he's dead, bro.
Yeah, I think so as well. Unless
He's
Scotty
dead.
saves him. Scotty will save him.
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. Like, really, honestly, I love talking about the story that, like, how it's written, but we do need to get onto Andor. Cobra Kai taught me that nostalgia fuel has
Exactly,
its.
dude.
How dare you?
I
How
was so
dare
enlightened. Dude. First season was awesome. After
Yes.
that, it was just like a caricature of itself.
No.
And to me, it didn't work anymore. It was just
No.
fun. It
We're
was
fighting.
light, but it wasn't the first season.
You missed. If you didn't see it all the way through, did you see it all the way
I
through?
did see it all the way, but it wasn't.
Okay,
I
so you got
just
to see Kreese
forced
and Johnny
myself
at the
through it.
end. Come on,
I
how dare
forced myself
you?
through it, dude.
No.
No.
No, Bob's right.
Yeah.
It's this one.
You guys just broke my heart. Let's move on, so otherwise I'm going to get too upset. Andor. Okay, we're moving on to Andor.
Okay.
Hard and fast.
So let me preface this by saying that I think Andor is a masterpiece.
You just broke my heart, Bob.
Anyway, I think Andor is a masterpiece.
Yes.
I think it's written with love for all of the characters. It's awesome writing by Tony Gilroy. I think it's awesome world building. To me, it's like one of the best written series out there. And it just happens to be in the universe of Star Wars. So for anyone like Cousin Helen who detests anything that has to do anything with Star Wars, you can just safely watch this because you don't need to know anything about Star Wars, not even about Rogue One, to appreciate this series. The nuances in the series and the character flaws, good versus evil, just doesn't exist because every character is nuanced as hell, and they're put through the ringer. I really liked it.
Look, I don't even know how to add on to that, mate. Like, honestly, you hit the nail on the head. It's one of the best written shows I've ever seen. And just okay, I've seen people say it's very slow pacing. I love it. I
Yeah.
love everything about it. I love all the espionage, all the secrets going around. I love every single goddamn aspect of this show. How it looks, the music, the writing. I was just saying to Lani, like, it's perfection. It's literally just the way they tell the story and the characters they've built already. Like, look, every character, I love them all. Luthen,
Yeah.
bloody Mon Mothma, even I can't remember their name. Jewish mum and all them. I love all
Yeah.
the stories.
Cyril and Digga. So yeah, if you haven't seen Andor, maybe I mischaracterized it, John, but help me. It kind of feels like an espionage / intrigue versus Game of Thrones versus a heist movie.
Yes.
Like a
Yeah, I think
combination of
so.
those three. And
Yes.
to me, it's like the perfect blend of all because all of the storylines and all of the characters are interesting. And I saw this interview with Tony Gilroy, which was really cool. I think it was, what was it called? Trigger TV? I don't know what the name was again. But he said that people have complaints about Andor season 1. First of all, that it's not pew pew whoosh whoosh Star Wars with Jedi's and lightsabers, which I don't mind and really love, to be honest. Second of all, that it was like a really slow burn. So then he said, so you thought season 1 was a slow burn? I'll give you a slow burn. And now this is like 3 episodes being year 1. Next week we'll get 3 episodes again for being year 2, and then the last 3 episodes will be year 3.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, right? That's what it feels like. I love how the first 3 episodes basically Cassian is on a Mando mission essentially. Like so like in Mando, you know how something happens and then something will happen from that, or he gets a mission and then he rescues something but then falls through the floor and gets trapped, and then the episode becomes about that. It's like he stole the ship but then gets caught up with these randos, like holding him hostage for like, it's just like a little side mission quest that Mando would go on.
Yeah.
That's just what it reminded me of. What's Bob saying? One's daughter's wedding felt longer than an Indian wedding in Mumbai doing
Okay, so
Diwali.
I've been to Indian weddings. Well, it was in Holland. So like they're like a condensed version of actual Indian weddings, but yeah, they feel long as hell, dude.
Yeah, I love that whole sequence though of the wedding. Honestly, like I love how she's panicking and everything's gone out of control, and she starts drinking. Just that whole sequence was so freaking good. But I didn't take pictures for everything,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
how are we going
I
to
just
do this? Because it's going to be less chronological than Last of Us, right?
Yeah, well, we just
We're
do
going to-
Cassie. Like I did characters, so I did
Okay, cool,
Cassian.
cool,
Then
cool.
I've got
Let's do
these
it.
guys. Then I got
Let's start
these
with
guys.
Cassian.
Then we got these guys, and just kind of like that, right?
Yeah,
So,
let's start with Cassian then.
what an awesome action way to get you in at the start of the episode. Really well done for people that maybe haven't watched it and they get to see, oh, a little bit of action.
Yeah, so this is situated in 4 BBY. So this will lead up to Rogue One, and it's just
Mhm.
5 years, I think, after Andor season
Yeah,
1.
yeah, I think so.
So he's like a veteran now. He has
Mm.
had his arc in Andor season 1 from being pretty selfish to
Yes.
being part of rebellion, and now he's like a seasoned veteran of rebellion. He gets to meet this worst employee of the month who's being a traitor to the empire,
Yeah.
and he convinces her to give him the key to the this vehicle, right? The test vehicle, the TIE fighter. And look, okay, so the show is written so densely that in every scene, so much is happening. If you don't pay attention, it looks like nothing's happening, but every sentence has importance. Like we sometimes say, there's not a lot of fat in this series. There's really not a lot of fat in this series. So the scene he first has with the woman who's about to be a traitor to the empire, it sets up actual human beings working in and for the empire, being at home there, and having fun there. They actually had fun, and it was a home. And then he replies with, "You're going home to yourself," which is like he really ingrained the manifesto of Namek into his soul. It's like the blue versus red pill dilemma, and she goes to the red pill after having fun in the blue pill. And I think that was done so well, and it also signifies him just being like a full.
He's a good manipulator. Like he's
also, yeah, he's working his asset, but he's not even lying, working the asset. He's also telling the truth, motivating her to work for the rebellion because it's necessary. You can stay in the blue pill all you want, but you need to wake up one time.
He's on the moral mission. Like he's on a mission to, that's his journey. Like I saw an interview Lani saw. Sorry, not I saw. Lani saw that. I'm pretty sure it was her. Either way, that he says that once you, it was her actually. Once you watch the end of season 2, and then rewatch Rogue One, you'll be seeing the movie from a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe not completely, but
yeah, well, not completely, but like it'll be like a interesting way to read. I'm really looking forward to that moment. I'm not rewatching. I haven't watched it for a while. I'm like, I'm not going to rewatch it until the end of this. I want to go from this straight into that. I think that'll be fun to do.
What I think is cool is that season 1 and 2 of Andor is like standalone, pretty solid. But if you know that it works up to Rogue One and Rogue One works up to New Hope, it's even cooler than that, because not only is it like an origin story of Andor, but it's also an origin story of Jin. It's also an origin story of the whole of the rebellion, and of the makings of Death Star.
Yep. And also showing, really, when you think about it, how there are people within the empire willing to work with the like this girl at the start for him, and
Mhm.
then Jin's dad. What's his name? He was working. He worked for them, right? The way he
Well, Galen
put the
Erso didn't actually work for them. He was forced to create a Death Star, but he made like a loophole to make sure that they
yeah
were going to. So that's what the plans are for.
yeah
The plans they beam up with R2D2.
yep.
Yeah,
It's just so well done. Best way to do a prequel I think I've ever seen. Really, when you
yeah,
think about it, it's like it's just
yeah.
this. It's a whole other world and story. So anyway, they got the action sequence. Then he ends up on the world. I didn't get any pictures for that because I just got a couple for each.
Oh,
Um,
by the way, I love that he couldn't fly the plane.
yeah, that was
They've been
cool.
Mary suing everything in every series, but he just couldn't fly the plane. He got
Yeah,
there, but because he's a good pilot, but he just studied the wrong plans.
yeah, which is pretty epic,
Yeah,
and it allowed to create the awesome scene between them. I love how resilient that this TIE fighter is. It really takes some hits and doesn't get too damaged. But I love how he uses it to get from here to that world, and then from that world back to the where he comes back at the end.
yeah.
Um, I'm assuming it's going to have more to play. Um, Loved his story arc in it. Then we cut to these guys, and is this I couldn't make it out. Is this a different world they're on from Rick's Road and where they were before? Is this somewhere else on that world?
So they were on Ferrex before, and they
Correct.
traveled to here, which is another world. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this world. This looks like I love the look of it. They made it look really cool. It kind of reminded me actually of that Zack Snyder movie that he just
Which one?
did, the space one he just did. I can't remember the name with Charlie Hunman in the
The
first
electric.
movie.
I don't know. I don't know.
None,
Okay,
no,
let's go.
I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon. It reminded me of
Oh,
Rebel
okay,
Moon.
okay.
This world, yeah,
Mm.
it's the world of it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know why I just did. These
Maybe it's
guys,
loading.
so they're still alive. Maybe the wheat too in the fields. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but I love this whole storyline too about how the Empire guys come in and obviously think they're the big dogs. They're looking for checking visas. I
How
thought
did
that
we
was very
call Brasso again? Was he replacement Timmy? He was replacement Timmy, right?
replacement Tim. Yes, I think he was. Yeah, I think that was his name. Poor Brasso.
Yeah.
Were you happy with these guys seeing what they're doing? Like, because obviously, Cassian's obviously with them majority of
Yeah.
the time because he's wanting to
So
get
the
back
cool
to
thing is
them.
them being repairmen and using that as like a disguise for them being illegals, because the Empire, if they check on them, they know that they're illegal, and
Hmm.
maybe they find out that they were the ones behind the Ferric stuff.
Hmm.
So that would be bad. That would be like death sentence.
So it shows
I
that they've been on the run since.
Yeah, yeah, and I like them being mechanics because it kind of reminded me of. I read this book. I don't know what the name was. Well, it was an audiobook, so I didn't read it. I listened to it.
Mm.
It was the Darth Revan book, and it also talked
Ah.
about like a party being mechanics um, to be undercover. So it kind of reminded me of that. So that was
Mm.
cool to see.
Yeah, that's cool. The scene where she, in episode 3, where the guy tries to rape her and they fight, that was, I just remember watching that thinking, this is more the most visceral, like, action I've seen in a Star Wars show. I felt like it
Yeah,
just was
yeah,
very,
yeah.
like, real
Really,
and
yeah, and real.
gritty, like, like it hit hard. Like, you
Yeah,
felt the hits, I felt like, and I'm like, this isn't Star Wars. Star Wars doesn't go this real. Um, Not in a bad way, but I'm just like, this is like a real story. Like,
yeah.
this is real consequence action. Like, she's getting the shit kicked out of her. I just really enjoyed not her getting beat up, but I enjoyed how well they made that scene look. It didn't feel like too soft or you know what I mean, right? It just didn't. It just
Yeah, I know
felt,
what you mean. Look.
yeah. I can't
I
articulate it
like the
properly.
fact
Done
that
really well.
they tackle serious topics, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's also because they just need to set the tone that this is like a different type of um, Star Wars content. Because if you look at the movies, they're they're all a bit happy-go-lucky, right?
Mm.
Yeah, they're sad. Yeah, they're frightened sometimes, but it's really happy-go-lucky. If anyone just shoots down a ship, they just laugh like it's a game.
Yeah.
It's just like um, movies 1 to 9 are just family movies. Um, they're really made for kids, actually. Now, well, not for
Mm.
kids, but for the whole family to enjoy.
Yeah.
This is a lot more serious. I would have wished that it wasn't 12 and older, but like maybe 14 or 15 and older.
Mm.
Because it was a bit too on the nose, maybe. They could have done the same thing, same effect, um, being a bit less on the nose.
Mm.
But it did set the tone.
I feel like it definitely set the tone.
Yeah,
Like
because it was
you,
happened,
you,
right?
you
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
never see like one, you'd never see that type of act be done in one of those other films, right?
Yeah.
As well as just the realness of what happens when a man and a woman are fighting. Um, yeah, just it was really, I just really thought it was well done.
Yeah. So, and I also, like I said, I've seen the interview with Tony Gilroy. Um, Tony Gilroy is not like a humble person. I'm not saying he's
Mm.
arrogant, but he's not humble. But I think the crew is justifiably very proud of what they've done with the series.
Mm.
And the thing that they were very onto is how would that actually work? Just think everything through and think about how would it actually work. If you get
Mm.
like visited by the Empire, or basically Nazis who have all the power in the world, how would that
Mhm.
happen? What would actually
Mhm.
happen? Um,
Mm.
so I like that they thought it through this much, because this is what would happen actually.
Yeah, like it just connects you to the story more. I feel like the way they take the time to actually have moments. Like by the end of this, who's been on the screen more, I would argue, than Cassian? Like, wouldn't he be one of the you think about screen time and story told for, I know he's not the main character, he's not the I mean, like I know not the whole focus of the show is on him,
Mhm.
but by the end of it, there's not going to be people that had more screen time as a leading man in within the series, I would think,
Hmm.
than his character. So we're going to end up spending a lot of time with him compared to other Star Wars characters. So it's going to be interesting to see how the fandom feels about him as a character. Um, in Star Wars, you've got Luke and you've got things like that. Will he be up there? Do you think by
Oh,
the time
dude,
it's all
no,
said
because
and
it's too divisive. Because, like the hardcore fans who started watching 4, 5, 6, and after that the prequels, and loved
done?
episode 1 to 6, um, there will be like a lot of those fans who don't recognize Andor as actually being Star Wars, because there's no Jedi, there's no light
Mm,
side, dark side, there's no lightsabers, um, so there's not enough action on a more superficial level.
mm,
I guess. If you don't like this, because Star Wars isn't usually about this intrigue,
mm,
CIA kind of um, content,
mm,
the Game of Thrones type of content. That's not Star Wars ish. So
mm.
there will be a group being put off by this.
Yeah. Like, whereas I look at this and I love this because it shows me, like, I love the fact that if you were really trying to do all the shit that they do in these things and broke it down to a real level, like you said, of how would you actually do it, it takes a lot longer. And look at how much effort goes into them just wanting to get plans, just to get
Yeah,
plans to do something. I love how they've been able to create a whole series and movie just to show how hard it would actually be to do that. All the deals you got to make, all the people you got to work with, all the things you got to do, stealing a jet to give to someone else to get something else to do something else. Like, I love that. It's not just rushed. Like, we got the plans, we blew up the thing, game over, told in 20 minutes. I
yeah,
love that they drag it out like
yeah.
that. What's Bob saying? We all know the best scene was when the mother-in-law got
It
smacked
was a
down.
good
Yeah,
scene. It's one of the best scenes, I think. Yeah, it was a good scene.
that was epic.
We love
I
angry
just
Jewish mom.
We
She's like
love her.
like I said, she's a fan favorite, Jewish mom.
Yeah. It's bigger catharsis than it start blowing up. It was. It actually was. It was like,
But it
yes,
was.
take it down, take it
Yeah.
down. But we'll come back. We haven't even got to these guys yet. But I just cut to this bit here because at the end, obviously, he comes back and meets up with them, and we lose the big dog, unfortunately.
It's a big dog.
Big Dog goes down. But let's come back to these guys. So that's the end of her story. They get away, but she's upset because they've lost Bryso, obviously. I loved seeing, and then we've hit an hour, so I'll try and talk quick, but I loved seeing her in the boardroom with Krennic, one of my favorite actors of all time. Just how they going about destroying another world, like taking their resources. I loved that. All the TV stuff, the propaganda that they're working on, that whole section I could talk about for ages of them in that room devising their plan of just using propaganda to steal the resources off this
Oh yeah,
current
but
world.
this is Bob's
Right.
part with the angry Jewish mom. So I think we'll
Yeah,
get
I know.
to that part,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Let's get to that. I'm just saying
So
that bit was epic.
yeah. So
Also,
I love before Jewish mom came, and before you even knew that it was going to be her that came, because you just see these two. They've been living in Coruscant. Obviously, Daedra has been living on the better part of Coruscant, while
mhm.
Cyril was eating blue cereal on like the slums of of Coruscant, or at least the not so good parts of Coruscant. Um, she's very neat, borderline OCD, and I love that they're all anxious. And he says,
Mm.
maybe we can pretend that you didn't get back yet. Maybe we can postpone this. Maybe we can get out of this. So you think like it's some general that's going to, like Vlarn's coming by, but it's actually his mom. So I love
Yeah.
that surprise.
Yeah, it was so well done. He comes across as such a little bitch sometimes, though.
It
Like,
does, and she knows it, and mom knows it. They both know it.
yeah, they both know it. Um, so that, like, he annoys me with that, but it's good. It's an interesting dynamic because she's clearly the leader in the relationship.
Yeah.
You can just tell she's very authoritarian. Grand Moff status.
That would
She
be
will,
cool,
I
but
feel
we
like.
don't see her in Rogue One, so I'm kind of afraid that both of them will die. But I hope
Mm.
they get like I would love a spin-off of either of those.
Yeah, just that, just following them. Like I love how this show follows them and not with just a lens of just following them. You
Yeah,
know, like she's just having a work day talking about this
yeah,
opportunity to go and do this thing, but the consequences of that are like ruining another world. And to them, it's just business as usual. But
yeah,
they don't show it in a. And they're not like maniacal villains. They're just people, and this is their
yeah.
job, and this is the way they think. And to
And
them,
they're
it's normal. Like
both awkward people because he is kind of portrayed like socially awkward, maybe on the spectrum, being
mm,
whipped by his mom into shape, and
mhm,
being very submissive, but very good analytically.
mm,
So he's like a analytical savant, maybe. And she's
mm.
just so corporate, empire bred. She is devoid of emotion almost because it wasn't
Yeah.
in her upbringing. So I love this combination.
Yeah, she's like that side of like they don't understand or know how the rest of the world or planets live, and
Yeah,
they don't care. They're just set in their own world, I guess, is the way to put it. Yeah, I love that sequence. I loved how she told the mum. I think the mum loved it too. She loved it. She loved getting like meeting a strong woman because she shut up
no,
and
she didn't. She
just.
didn't love it. She didn't love it. So the
I
next
think she
picture
loved
is not mom, right?
it.
Okay,
Yeah,
please go back.
this
Please go
whole
back
sequence.
because we need to talk about the cathartic moment with mom. Um, so this might be an episode of reveals because I've done a couple of acting classes, and so the
Ooh.
interesting part when you have like a scene with two characters who are clashing or who have like face off. I was there in spirit. Cool. We need
Oh,
to do
good
better.
brother.
But so when you make a scene with two people interesting, it has to do with a disbalance of power. That's the only
Mm,
way to keep like a scene of two people clashing interesting. If you're both crying, it's not interesting. If you're both
mm,
equally as mad, it's not interesting. And like the disbalance of power can be disbalance in financial power or in status or hierarchy or in physical power. It doesn't even matter. And what you see in
Mhm.
this scene is that mom comes in and she just pisses all over the place, marking her territory, just eating like a savage, dripping like cheese drip everywhere, even
On
though
the
bed
table.
is clean as hell. Yeah, just marking her son and her territory in their homes. And then when Sidrul is away because of his headache, because of his mom, because he just can't take it, Dedra takes over. And mom knows that Dedra knows that Dedra can influence Cecil to not have any contact with mom anymore. So
Mm.
she actually wields the contact that he has with his mom as like a weapon to bring down mom. And mom knows it. They all know it. And
Mm.
mom gets in line.
Yeah, she does all right, doesn't she? I love that moment. Bob would hire her to accompany him going through Thanksgiving than a
Better than a
bodyguard.
bodyguard.
Yeah, she just tells it how it is, right? She just
Yeah.
no fear at all of his mum and just shut her down. Loved it.
Yeah, I love the idea of her accompanying me. Maybe she'll tell my wife the way she told
She
mom.
can, she can tell your wife you will not attack Anthony for his delivery frequency, the frequency of his deliveries. You will acknowledge them, sign them in, and place them in his room for him. No
Yeah,
questions asked.
that would be good.
Then we cut to good old Mon Mothma, and I think this
Say,
guy's about to bite. Clay is about to bite the bullet. Now, there's a lot
yeah,
going on here with these guys, and see, I feel like all her action sequences, like the little whispers and chats that they have,
yeah,
the action sequences for Mon, and I love all of it. We got party bro husband doing his best at hosting a party. Obviously the wedding. I remembered the daughter's getting married to spite her, isn't she? Because she's sticking to the traditions, and her mum kind of tells her she doesn't
I
need
don't
to
think
do it.
it's only to Spider. I think first of all we meet. Sorry, I can't relate to the situation. I think he went to bed for a little bit, just for his headaches. But so Lida, the daughter, we see her as being a zealot almost. She's very much into the traditions
Mm,
and the religion and the culture, which Mamatma isn't, of course.
mm,
So, and it seems like she actually likes Scald son, and she
mm.
wants to be married. Not only because she likes the son, but also because she gets to show her dress to her friends, and it's her wedding, and she gets all the attention. So it's I don't think it's only to spite her mom, to be honest.
Mm. Didn't they need her to though? Because that business guy had him in a predicament
Yeah.
last
So
season.
they childhood friend gone creepy. The one you see on the left.
Yep,
He the dude on the left.
he's not
Yeah.
making it.
Anyway, so they was meant to cover up some financial trackings from Amatma because she is siphoning her family's money because she's very wealthy.
Yeah.
The rebellion. So he covered it up and he used Skulden, the smuggler, pirate slash loan shark guy, to do it.
Hmm.
That loan shark guy said, "I will do it on one condition: that my son gets to meet Leda." Um,
That's right.
it's officially not a forced wedding, but it kind of is.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
and the show is about sacrifice, and the sacrifices all levels have to make for the rebellion or for the empire.
Mm,
And Mon Mothma feels that she had to sacrifice her daughter for this deal.
mm. And because I know she's dealing with that, and then she's
Yeah,
dealing with Clay now coming to her, like putting the strong, like what a. I love how they did it. They met like how he is just so snaky about it. Like, just come out and say it, bro. Like,
yeah,
you're going to go do that to her. And the thing I get is, me and Lani talked about this, is I felt like she kind of has feelings for him in a way, especially when Party Bro comes up, Party Bro husband, her husband, everybody, comes up and says, "You can go get with him now because he's left his wife or whatever." That makes me think he's jealous of their relationship. And do you think that she kind of has feelings for this guy in a way? That's why
No,
she's so
no,
upset about
not
it?
at all.
You don't
Not at all.
Interesting.
But he does see that there's something going on between those two.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why I thought it, but I thought for some reason, does she have slight feelings towards this guy?
No, but he does towards her. Which is weird.
Cowardly chickens cluck quietly. So what do you think then? So you think she's just upset because Luthen, good old Luthen, look at him, gangster. It's just that smile, and then meanwhile he's planning to kill him.
Yeah, so he is like her childhood friend, but I think he's more work to her than anything else at the moment. She's kind of reluctant getting into him just for the deal. Yeah, he got friend-zoned hard.
Yeah.
And as soon as she spots Luthen, she thinks, "What the hell is going on?" And Luthen says he's just here as to. He's going to be dead zoned.
He's definitely dead.
Oh, that's hot. Anyway, but Luthen, he is there in his incognito rule, because you see him smiling over there as the antagonist. How would you say it? Like the antique store dealer that he is.
Yeah, because he provided the big statue.
He has a side quest.
He definitely has a side quest.
Yeah, and the statue is pretty interesting. But the statue kind of reminded me of George Lucas's treatment of the sequels with the wheels and stuff. So it kind of seemed like an early sketch. And Party Boy got more of a role than he had in the whole season 1,
which is cool to see.
Also a fan favorite, of course.
He is a fan favorite. And look, he's hosting another. Look, he does what he does. He hosts parties. He gets shit done. He's got Suave's looking there, bro.
Yes. So
I just love. I could just watch. Look, I don't care. Drag it out. Give me an hour and a half episode. I want to see the espionage. I want to see it. I loved the scene at the end where she's dancing and just losing control because she's had that conversation with Luthen. She's known that he's going to take him out. We see that he gets into the car with the ex of I can't remember her name, but like, which means Luthen's already set up the death. She just knows that he's going to do it, and she's just letting loose at the party. I thought that was pretty.
And
pretty
only
cool.
if you see this picture, it's kind of portraying how brilliant Andor is, because these are 3 very good stage actors. So they went with a lot of awesome actors for their characters, which is like smart on their part.
Definitely. He totally gives me Rush Clover's vibes with Padme. Only Clone Wars fans will know.
He was more clean.
I just love the the writing. The writing is so good, and the dialogue is so good, and everything. Like, it's all like, to think about her day. She's literally trying to deal with this wedding with her daughter. She's trying to deal with Tay trying to shake her down. She's trying to deal with Luthen and the rebellion thing. She's got all this shit going on, and then the mother of the son wants to dance. And when that happened, I thought, like, if that were me in that position, I'd be like, how could you focus on trying to dance and have fun when you're literally having all these conversations on the down low with such big consequences? I just loved how they depicted that and the pressure that she was under. And
so that's why she drinks and just lets loose.
I loved it. I loved it. And then Cassian came back, and so they're off to somewhere else now. So it'd be interesting to see where they go from there. And that's it. So I'll try and maybe get more pictures for next week. That's it. That's all we got, bro. And we're over an hour, so
cool.
We better get close to cutting it. But I'm excited. It's definitely going to be difficult if they keep dropping 3 episodes at a time. Are they dropping 3 episodes at a time? Does anybody know?
So it's just 1 year 1, year 2, year 3, and then into Rogue One.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh, so it is actually. I just thought you were assuming that's what it was going to do. So that is what they're doing.
I thought. I think I've heard Tony Gilroy say that in an interview. He also said that You know, when he gets captured, Cassian, and there's like these two factions having a face-off with the rock paper scissors kind of thing.
Yep.
The leaders of those factions are his son and his nephew-in-law, I guess,
Oh wow,
which was like a funny Easter egg.
that's crazy.
Yep.
Just put them in. Oh well, I'm excited. Like, I mean, as a viewer, I want to see 3 episodes, but as someone like what we're going to do to talk about, it's going to make it hard. I miss a lot of shit, especially with Last of Us. But I don't know if every episode of Last of Us is going to be as full on as that last one was. It'd be very hard to top that. I think they're going to slow burn back up to another.
I think so as well, because a lot of things. Look, the arc in the season will be like the mending of the relationship to the mended guitar. So we'll see a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks, and then her working her way to take out or to face off with Abby, I'm assuming. So looking forward to it. Either way, I said to Lani, the age of television and movies is back right now. We've got these 2 shows. Me and Lani are going to see Thunderbolts on Thursday, and we're also going to see Sinners on Tuesday, because I'm hearing great things about Sinners. It looks really good, and I've watched a couple.
Are we doing those? Are we doing Thunderbolts and Sinners?
Well, I don't. When, Anthony? When are we going to do that?
True, dude. Well, okay. I think Andor is going to be 2 more weeks, then, right?
No, it's on again this week, right? Don't do that to me.
But I mean, isn't it going to be 2 more weeks? Like,
yeah. Well, if they do it that way, I didn't know that. I didn't know they were doing that.
I think I heard Tony Gilroy say it though.
Yeah. Anyone in the chat, correct us if you know if they're going to. If not, I'll have a look after.
Because then we could do it after 3 weeks.
Yeah, we could always do one of them. Well, either way, we're going to see them because I've heard good things about Thunderbolts, which is exciting. Cool. I'm going to watch it anyway, but I'm glad to hear. And Sinners, I'm hearing really good things. And if it's anything like From Dusk Till Dawn, that's a classic.
True.
And I can't wait to see what their take is, because it seems like they have creative control. Yeah, it seems like he had a lot of creative control. And I've watched him talk about all the formats he shot the movie in, and very cool. So I'm looking forward to just how epic that movie's going to be. Anyway, guys, we're capping it there because it's very late for Anthony and he needs to get some sleep. Hoping to see both of those 2. Yeah, do it, bro. There's lots of stuff this year. There's heaps of stuff this year. So it's epic. So many good shows, movies. We're very lucky. We're eating good this year for content. Other than that, we'll see you next week, guys. Peace out. Thanks for being here.
Bye-bye.